a shadow flitting across a screen, and images rule our lives. When this simple fact or truth is realized, gradually the meaning that we have attributed to these words and images come into question. Do they exist? Do they not exist? Do they exist? Do they not exist? The two questions cannot be answered at all. Again, Ramana Maharshi had an interesting answer to that question. Do these gods exist? To the same extent as that you exist, he used to answer. To the same extent that you exist, all these gods exist too. Then you turn your attention within what? We don't know. And see the arising of these images. There is an existence, but what I thought existed is doubtful. We are not dismissing it, we are not accepting it, we are inquiring into it, into its nature, into the truth concerning this entire creation. If all these things do not exist, how is it I see them? How is it I see them? Who created them? How is it I see them? Do I create them? If their existence is dependent upon me, do I create them? If so, what do I create? What do I create? Do I create the outside world? Is it outside? And what do I create? Which means, supposing I look at him and think that he is something else, somebody else, would he become somebody else? No, he doesn't. Who creates all this? How is the universe created? And what is the meaning of all this creation? And what am I in relation to this creation? What is this creation? Who created all this? And what am I in relation to all this? What do I contribute to this creation? How much? How little? In what manner? These are the questions that begin to haunt us, because there is still this feeling or the understanding that a desire arises in me only because an object is seen. And as long as the object is there, this interaction cannot be stopped. There is bondage between these two. Whether I am bound to you because you are holding me, or I am holding you, there is an experienced bondage. And this bondage can be broken destroyed, either by realizing that you don't exist in the manner in which I think you exist, or I don't exist in the manner in which I have assumed myself to be. Correct? Supposing you are very fond of mangoes, and you see on the mantelpiece a lovely looking mango, and you go for it, grab it with great eagerness, great craving. Oh, I'm going to enjoy it. Then suddenly you discover it's plastic. Your craving goes away. You may be disappointed, but your craving to eat the mango goes away. So the moment you realize that that object was not what you thought it was, the desire to eat it has gone. What is this world? How did it come into being? And what is my relation to it? Again, another illustration, another story is given in the Yoga-Vasistha. As you go on listening to the story, you might find that it is our story every day. The author or the guru here, Vasistha, is considered to be the son of the creator, Brahma, son of God, direct son of God, mind-born son of God. Mind-born son of God. So, he went to Brahma and asked him, what is all this world and why did you create all this? Good question, huh? And the right person to ask? Instead of asking one another, why did God create the world? Go and ask the Creator himself, why did you create this world? And this Brahma said, my son, I'll tell you a story of how it happened. After the previous night, now, listen very carefully, it is your story. At nightfall, I went to sleep and there was no creation. The entire universe had been dissolved into the black hole, which the scientists are discovering only now. Huh? The whole universe had been reabsorbed into the black hole. Then after some time, I woke up. After how much time? No one knows. Huh? It's fantastic. I don't know if you have ever awakened with a surprise, if not shock. What happened to that time? 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, you lay down, and as if just now, 5 o'clock. What happened to that time? Or was there a time at all? Maybe there wasn't. I've told this story to some others. Some of you may be new to this. But I don't know if you were there also. I was flying from Vancouver to Toronto. And oh my God, that was the most horrendous trip because there was a strike and all sorts of problems. And so eventually we got to Toronto at about 1 o'clock or so. The entire plane was packed and there was at least a supermarket full of baggage. And so we went all filed into the baggage claim area. We were waiting. The whole thing is dropping. And some of my friends were standing close by, waiting and waiting and waiting. They had been waiting since midnight, waiting and waiting. They were getting impatient. I was also getting a bit tired and worn out. And one of them showed me the watch. Move. It's 2 o'clock. I said, my bags are not down yet. It's about 2 minutes to 2. 2 minutes to 2. And then I happened to look at the clock. Just at that moment, it was 3 o'clock. There was some kind of a time change, either summer time or daylight saving time or whatever it is. Where was I at 2:30? I was standing there at 2 o'clock and suddenly it was 3 o'clock. Now, how can I answer the question, where was I at 2:30? So, you go to sleep and you wake up at 5 o'clock. Is it possible that similarly the whole time has gone or didn't exist, that you just went to sleep? No one can answer. Some others can offer their own theories and their own answers. It is not convincing to you because you are not aware of what happened to it. So this Brahma went to sleep and was about to get up. And just as you are getting up every morning, and then slowly within him arose visions of all manner of beings. The difference between the Genesis story and this is this. There, the storyteller says that God created all this. Here, the author says Brahma merely saw all that. He saw these beings, he saw those beings, he saw the other beings. A question naturally arises in our minds. Why did he think of a human being in this form? Why not in some other form? Why a tiger with 4 legs and some funny tail and all that? Why are there different forms of monkeys? How did he know that these animals should be created in those forms? These questions cannot be answered. So it was. And then, says the Vasistha story, he saw in that, where? I don't know. He saw in that, in the space of his own consciousness, which means nothing, minus $16. In the space of his own consciousness, he saw 10 suns, brilliant suns. And he looked. They all belonged to 10 different universes. I could not understand this for a long, long time. What do you mean by 10 different universes? So I have used the words universes, worlds as an interchangeable term in the translation of Yoga-Vasistha. But recently, scientists are telling us that there are any number of universes within universes, universes within universes. The nature of one being totally unknown to the residents of the nature of other. These all quantum physics, quantum mechanics. By reading those things, I am trying to understand the ancient scripture called Vasistha. He saw 10 suns all belonging to different universes. Then the question arises in his heart, all these things already exist, what must I do? So he summoned one of the sons, S-U-N-S, not S-O-N-S, S-U-N-S, one of the sons shining. Hey, come here. Tell me who are all these other sons and who created all these universes? And that son, S-U-N, tells a story. Oh, there was a very pious couple living on a hill in a hermitage. They were very nice people, very holy, very religious. They were very, very devoted to God. They had everything except children. They worshipped Lord Shiva, who granted them a boon that they would have children. 10 sons were born. They lived very happily for a long, long time. And then eventually they had to go. The aged couple had to go. The parents had to go. After the funeral of the parents, the boys got together in a sort of conference, boardroom, meeting, and said, now that our parents have departed, what must we do? It's no good hanging on to a temporary job and, at the risk of being kicked out any time. We must seek for that thing which shall be secure. Everybody wants security here. So we need security. We could become the emperors of the world, but then we are in danger. We will be kicked out. We will die. We can become the king of heaven. That also seems to be not quite secure. Come on. We should become creators of the universe. How about that? So that at least as long as the universe lasts, we will last. Approved, they said, all the 9. But then how does one become the creator of the universe? It's a meditation. Can achieve anything, everything. And so they sat, and the story says they stood contemplating, I am the creator of the universe. My head is heaven, my feet are the earth, my skin is space, all the gods and goddesses are there in me, personally. The rivers run within me, the mountains are there in me, earth, water, fire, air, all these things exist in me. So they contemplate. For how long? Till their contemplation materialized. Which meant what? Soon after that, there was a cosmic dissolution. Means what? They went to sleep. Yeah? They went to sleep. And their bodies had become decrepit, their bodies had disintegrated, but what did not disintegrate was their thought form. When those young men, the 10 men, contemplating I am the creator of the universe, and visualize the entire universe within themselves, shed their body, what remained were 10 universes. In a very small way, you and I do that every night. We create our own universe in dreams. We create our own universes in dreams. And even so, I have a slogan, a cliche. Every disembodied thought is a universe. Yeah? Why is it that what you see in your dream does not become the reality? Because it comes to an end when you wake up, or when you slip into deep sleep again, the dream is gone. But supposing before these two things happen, before you slip into sleep again, or before you wake up, you pass away, that will be a universe. Totally independent. Totally independent of all the universes that other dreamers have been constructing at the same time. We might all be sleeping here, each one dreaming a completely different dream. And by some quirk of fate, destiny, all of us seem to pass away at the same time. What happens? There will be 35 universes floating here. Here what? Where is here? This room is not there. Why? This room is related to this body. And once that body has been shed, this is not a room anymore. Difficult to understand. Difficult to understand. Because we are completely circumscribed and bound to this time, space and materiality reference. It's extremely difficult to understand this. The words seem to be clear. There is no difficulty in understanding the words. But to see the truth for what it is, it's not so easy. This used to be our problem, and now I believe this is also the problem of the physicists. They don't have words to describe what they want to describe. We are all lying down here, blissfully sleeping, blissfully dreaming our own little worlds, our own little worlds, our own little universes. And then suddenly it so happens that all of us die. What is meant by that? Even that meaning is not clear. When I am asleep already, I have lost consciousness of the body. If suddenly you gas me or do something and I pass away, what do you mean pass away? The connection between the body and consciousness is lost, right? And when the connection between the body and consciousness is lost, at the same time, the connection between consciousness and all that this body was associated with is lost, right? When the connection between consciousness and this body is severed, at the same time, at the same moment, the connection between consciousness and all that this body was associated with, you, the walls and the Australia and it's all gone. But in its place, what do you mean in its place? I don't know. Minus $16. There is something. What is there? Your dreams. Your consciousness. Whatever was what is your consciousness? Whatever there was that had somehow made its abode in this body, that remains there And that becomes a new world, new universe. In that you live. That is creation. And this creation takes place not just once in a few million years or billion years, every day as you wake up. When this truth is realized, then a certain revolution of outlook happens naturally to us. That is called self-control. Self-control is not repression, suppression and all the rest of it. Detachment is not kicking or running away from nothing of the sort. When this truth is immediately grasped, then there is self-control. Then there is contentment. Then there is the spirit of inquiry. And then there is natural, automatic seeking the company of the good and the holy, auspicious. And therefore the Yoga-Vasistha says in a very beautiful verse, even though earlier on it was said that self-control leads you to the mansion of wisdom, wisdom is dependent upon self-control, and self-control is dependent upon wisdom. Without wisdom you cannot have self-control. Without wisdom you cannot have contentment. Without wisdom you cannot have virtue. Virtue without wisdom is some kind of blind adherence. And wisdom cannot arise without virtue. Both these are mutually supporting. And that virtue, self-control, contentment, arises when the wisdom concerning the universe and its appearance in one's own consciousness arises. Om asato ma satkamaya tamaso ma jyotirkamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti.